Okay, so welcome to kind of the part 2 of this video. If you missed the last one, I did a full walk around on kind of the car, my build, parts that I have on it. Everything's linked, but I also mentioned in that video that my buddy Kevin was coming over to do a detail on the car. Wait, where is he? There he is back there. So yeah, he's gonna get ready. At some point maybe I'll talk to him and get his tips and tricks. But basically we're gonna be doing the winter ice package. So let me put you on the spot. Exactly what is the winter ice package?
This is exactly what it sounds like. Getting your car ready for winter. We're gonna be doing a full exterior clean. We're gonna be decontaminating the paint. We're gonna be doing some clay bar, iron removal. Then we're gonna do a nice wax and seal so it's ready for that Canadian road all over.
Yeah, so pretty much everything that I would do to my own car, but I've been seriously slacking on. So I figured my friend's trying to start up his own business, so why not help support him, get the car done at the same time, and then also maybe pick up some more tips and tricks for doing it myself or doing it for others. And that's kind of the point of this video. It might not be the definitive guide, but if you're just like the enthusiast detailer or even a professional detailer, maybe we'll do something here today that you've never done before, just a different method to get you ready. And I realize if you're watching a certain place like maybe California, it doesn't apply to you for winter, but trust me, this process is good for any kind of car, any kind of weather, because even if you rain or dirt or something, you want your paint to be protected. Okay, so step 1, foam cannon. And what the foam does is it kind of, all the loose dirt particles, the foam kind of lifts all those up so that when you spray down later, you don't actually embed everything into your paint. And before you go ahead and also do the full wipe with your brush, because the last thing you want is to create more swirls than you might already have in your paint. And as we saw before, my car is absolutely filthy right now because I've been neglecting cleaning it for a while, but I've been busy with work, I've been driving it a lot, so there's been no point and no time to try to clean it. So yeah, so step 1, foam rinse. You can either use their hose-based foam cannon here, or if you have a pressure washer like I have, any kind of foam will work. Okay, so after you've done the foam, step 2 is to rinse all of it off. And once again, the foam, the soap that lifts up all the loose dirt particles, kind of rinses everything off, gives like a base clean layer before then you go on with your washing or whatever and actually wipe the paint off. And see, even then, once you've got good maintenance on your car, like even now you can see the door looks about 5 times cleaner than it was with just the quick foam rinse. Okay guys, so once again, full foam rinse on the car, rinse it all off. Then we're going to do each wheel. So what have we done so far? A little decon
We've done a little bit of wheel cleaner on the rims, and then we did an all-purpose cleaner on the tires. Did a little bit of scrubbing. You want to agitate the dirt out of there. And then I went through with a wheel woolly. One of these babies right here. Picking them up pretty cheap. Get between the spokes there. You want to get the dirt out. Yeah,
so make sure you guys want to get in between those spokes your wheels. And also one part which I feel like a lot of people kind of neglect is make sure you want to get a little brush and make sure you get in between the lug nuts. Because A, it gets all the dirt out so that nothing kind of rusts or seizes up. And it looks pretty because you don't want to have a whole nice clean wheel that someone looks and goes, your lug's dirty. Especially if you're going to take your car for like a car show. Those are little details that judges are going to look at.
Exactly. $3 brush from Michaels gets right in between these spokes here. You just go in here, agitate that dirt. And then what you go on to do, just take your garden hose. Volume is the key. Don't be afraid to use water. Just spray around it. Make sure you get all the dirt out of there. Spray around the tire and everything like that. Get into those lug nuts. And there we go. Looking nice.
Alright. See guys, and there you go. So quick. So that's what it looks like when it's all nice and clean and shiny. And just to compare, the back wheel hasn't been done yet. That's what it looks like, all dirty and gross and blah. And once again, guys, I mentioned, I think in the last video, with all the car mods, that I have the wheels ceramic coated. So you can see there, obviously you want to keep your wheels clean, but having the ceramic coating on there, you can see the rim almost kind of looks brand new and all the dirt just flew right off as soon as we went to clean it. Okay, so we've done the wheels, we've done the initial wash, now we're doing the full hand wash on the car. So you just want to go section by section, make sure you hit everything. Make sure the car's all nice and clean, and then once again just hit it with your hose, rinse it all off, and you're good to go. And now if you have any wing on your car, make sure you don't knock that off. Alright guys, so now that the car has been fully cleaned, fully washed, now we're going to do the decontamination spray. And what this does is, even though your car might look clean, you think, okay, I've hit it with the foam, I've hit it with the full hand wash, it's all rinsed. There's still like very tiny particles of dirt that can stick into your paint. So the decontamination spray is going to pull basically all the last of the dirt that's stuck in the pores of your paint out, to make sure you have a nice smooth surface that when you go to later on wax it to seal it, you're not trapping dirt in your paint and then it's going to cause issues down the road. So yeah, so just before you go ahead and fully rinse the car and dry it off, you want to spray it on while there's still some water so that everything can kind of smoothly run off the car. Okay, so one thing to note guys with this one, I'm sure you guys have probably seen other videos with the decontamination spray where it does a color change. So that's kind of just a gimmicky thing. It doesn't mean the product is working, but basically what you want to remember is that you just want to give the product time to do its job. So spray it on like we're doing here. Spray it on like small sections at a time. Give it about a minute to let it pull everything out. So this one here isn't going to do any color change, but as long as you give it about a minute or two to do its job, whether it changes the color or not, you know you're going to be fine. Alright everyone, so now that we've done, once again, to recap, we've done the foam cannon wash, we've done the full hand wash, we've done the full decontamination spray. So the next step now that Kevin's doing is the clay bar, which is kind of the final step in making sure you get all the dirt out of your paint. It gives your paint that smooth finish. It's one of those things like, so if you, I don't know if you'll be able to hear, but if we kind of rub over the hood, you can't hear now because it's wet, but if you do that when it's dry, you'll hear that even with your fingers, the paint feels kind of gritty and it feels rough. And then once you go over it with the clay bar, if you do it again, it's going to be a nice smooth finish, which is exactly what you want, again, before you wax and seal your car. But once again, you don't want to trap any of that dirt in there, which is going to cause problems down the line later. So when you do the clay bar, make sure you have a nicely well lubricated surface. In this case, we're using the soapy water. There are other actual products called clay lubers, or you can just use just some like soapy water. Basically, the whole point is that you don't want to mess up your paint. You want the clay bar to be able to glide effortlessly and pick up all the dirt and contamination. So just make sure whatever you use that you have some layer of some kind of lubrication and like liquid on there, so you don't A, scratch your paint, and B, your clay bar actually works. And one thing to note, we're using a full clay bar. Was it a medium clay?
I'd say medium clay, yeah.
So yeah, there's different levels. So in my case, my paint's pretty good, so I need like a soft to medium clay. If you have a car that's maybe been sitting out for a while or is really heavily caked in dirt, there is a more aggressive, like a hard clay or even the clay blocks and bars, which have a bit more of like aggressive abrasion on them to get everything out. But in this case, the paint's pretty good, so we're using a medium clay bar. Okay, so just to demonstrate, so it doesn't really matter what brand of clay bar you get, but the word clay bar is pretty much literal. So whatever you get is going to come in this like big clump of clay. And then whenever you do in your car, you want to just rip off a small section, not very big, like maybe just like a small circle. You want to knead it out. Let me go back over here. So yeah, you want to rip off your little section of clay. You want to knead it out so it's a flat piece. Fold it over and then make sure as you're clay barring, you just kind of fold it over, have a flat surface. And every once in a while, you want to kind of knead it back out flat. And if there's any dirt stuck into it, always make sure you fold it over so you're never actually putting dirt back on the paint. And the most important thing to remember, guys, with the clay bar is that if you ever drop it on the ground, don't try to pick it up and rinse it because there's going to be dirt inside of it. Throw it away, get a new piece, and keep going with the clay bars. Now, luckily with some of the clay blocks, I have one, I'm not going to show you guys, but with the clay blocks, they are actually a little bit more forgiving. So say you were to drop it like lightly on the ground, you can actually just go wipe it off or rinse it off, make sure there's no dirt on there, and keep going. But definitely with the clay bar, because it is literally like a piece of clay, like Play-Doh almost. Yeah, if you drop that on the ground, definitely pick it up, throw it away. Do not put it back in your car because that's just going to cause even more scratches and more work down the line. Alright guys, so just as a quick example, now that we've clay barred this section to what I was talking about, like I said, before you do the clay bar, you run your fingers over, you're going to feel it's kind of rough patches, but now you can see my fingers just kind of glide effortlessly over the paint. So that means that you've taken out all the dirt and contamination out of the paint so that Once you're fully done, you're good to apply your wax and seal or ceramic coating or whatever kind of paint protection you're going on the paint. Okay guys, so quick little update again. So once again to recap, wash, foam wash, hand wash, decontamination spray, the whole car has been clay barred. Now we're just going through by we, I say Kevin, is going through the process of just drying the car, making sure it's all dried off properly, and then we're gonna pull it into the garage here and continue on with the wax and seal. Okay, so we're just in the process of drying, like I mentioned, and Kevin actually had a little fun fact and tip.
So we're using a drying agent on the microfiber here. You want to be using microfiber to pick up the water. If you notice, if I run my microfiber down the hood, typically when you want to dry, you want to make sure it's all dried, right? That's the whole point of drying the car. But in this case, because we're applying some form of product, in this case, I just have a typical spray wax / drying agent. These little streaks actually mean that the paint is absorbing the agent. It's helping to lubricate and moisturize the clear coat basically, and you can kind of see as it fades away, you don't get any of that streaking that you would usually get if you just dried it regularly.
Right. So yeah, hopefully guys it comes up well enough on the camera for you. I just tried to crank up the brightness. But yeah, you can kind of see how there's still some streaks in here, so that's what he's talking about. So now we pulled the car into the garage, pretty after light because of course it is dark outside, and now we're going ahead with the wax and seal process. So basically what you want to do is you want to get your pad, gently blotch out the product on your pad, blotch it out over the section of car you're working on, and then just go ahead and gently back and forth, slowly work it into the paint. And then obviously you're going to do this over the whole car, and then is this the wax and seal in one, or wax and then seal on top?
2 in 1.
2 in 1? Perfect. So yeah, so this is a 2-in-1 product that we're using here, but some of the other products, you might want to do a wax layer and then a seal layer on top. So just keep in mind that there's going to be a bit of a drying time in between doing those. But with a 2-in-1, it's as it says, it's 2-in-1, so you do one application and you should be good to go. Okay guys, so we're at pretty much the final stage of the detail here. Once again, the car's been washed, all that good stuff. We've just finished doing the full 2-in-1 polish. As you can see, the paint is super shiny. I think I'll do another follow-up in the morning with the sunlight. But anyways, we're just going to finish up. We're going to do tire dressing and what else?
Trim dressing as well.
Tire and trim dressing. So Kevin tells me this is like his favorite product and it works really well. So we're going to put him on the spot a little bit and film this.
Yeah, what this is, it's a water-based dressing. So you want to use a water-based dressing for the tires. It helps to actually moisturize the rubber. And if you use the silicone-based ones, which some of the cheaper products might be silicone-based, they actually throw all the dressing onto the car. That's not what we want, so...
Oh, yep, nope.
I'm going to use a water-based one here. It does wash off after maybe 1 or 2 rainfalls, but, you know, that's the nature of the product, so...
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and massage it all in there. And what you do is you take a throwaway cloth, something you don't need anymore, just give it a good rub. And essentially, after you rub it, that's what it's going to look like. There we go. And there we are.
Perfect. So yeah, you can see, pretty shiny. Like I said, once again, we got a lot of light battling right now, so I'll pull the car out tomorrow during the daylight so we can kind of fully see the work and make sure Kevin actually did a good job. Otherwise, we'll be calling him back. Alright guys, so the detail on the car is done. Once again, like I said, tomorrow I'll pull it out so you can see it properly in the daylight because it's dark out and the lights just doesn't quite do it enough justice. But once again, I'm going to give a big shout out to my buddy Kevin at AIT Detailing on Instagram. Once again, I'll link it down below. Go give him a follow for sure if you live in the York Region, Toronto area. Hit him up for any of your detailing needs. So once again, link in the description below. Like I said, you can't really see it now, but this car is super shiny. It's super smooth to the touch. So, Kevin, great job. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Alright guys, so as promised, it is the next day. I pulled the car out. Unfortunately, I kind of waited a little bit too late in the day to come outside and do this, but there is still sunlight, so we can have a little bit of a better look at the car here. So as you can see, like I said, it's a lot clearer than it was before. Even with this kind of lower lighting, you can see the car just kind of shines. Like if I lean over, I can pretty much easily see my reflection in the paint. And as I said last night, this surface is now super smooth because of everything we've done to it. So as you can see, my hand just glides effortlessly over the paint. Okay, so just to recap the whole process. So step one is to do your foam cannon or foam gun wash. That puts a layer of soap on the car and lifts up all kind of the loose dirt particles off of it. And then you want to go ahead and rinse the car off. Step two is doing the full kind of hand wash. So make sure you have the 2-bucket method. You want 1 bucket with your soapy water, another bucket with just clean water for rinsing off. Because even at that point, any dirt particles can maybe still stick in your wash mitt, and you don't want to rub that obviously into the car, into the paint. Step 3 is to then rinse the whole car off, and then you do your iron decontamination. At that point, where you spray it all along a different body, one panel at a time, let it sit for about a minute to pull even more stuff out. Go ahead and rinse that off. The next step is to do your clay bar. Remember to use either some soapy water or any kind of lubrication. Really, I would recommend soapy water, or some companies have products that are actually called clay luber. It just adds a layer of slickness so that you're not getting the clay bar stuck to your paint, and it helps to lift up even more dirt. And then at that point, your paint should be pretty much clean, ready to go. So I'd recommend at that point you take the car into a garage or some kind of enclosed area to do the final step, which is the polishing and the sealant. In our case, last night we used the 2-in-1 wax and sealant, but if you guys wanted to go further, you can use separate wax and then a separate sealer as well. But yeah, that's the process, guys. And once again, you can see just how well the results are, how shiny the car is, how clean everything is. And the good thing about this, with doing it as the winterized package, this will help protect the car through our harsh Canadian winters. And if I did want to wash it during the winter, I could just do a simple kind of rinse off wash, and the car is going to look clean, and it should hold up pretty much until spring. And then come the springtime, I can do another good wash. So once again, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Go hit up my boy Kevin, follow him on Instagram. Once again, if you live in the York region area, hit him up for any of your detailing needs. Once again, all the links in the description below. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.